Hey Tacoma, it's Abby, and it is Friday, May 8th. It's our sixth Flash Poetry Workshop, and I want to congratulate you. We have been staying home to stop the spread of coronavirus now for 200 million years. Good job. This week, I want to talk about music in poetry. I'm going to start by asking you, what are you listening to lately? What do you listen to while you write? Lately, I've been listening to a lot of Hawaiian music, classical, and a lot of flamenco. That seems to keep my energy up while I'm writing. To me, and to most poets, music is integral to poetry. One can't really shed the other. But by thinking consciously about music on its own, we can learn to recognize our own patterns and inflections, the way we use words, and how music is really already there, even if we weren't aware of it before. I want to read a really quick quote from this book, The Poet's Companion. It's by Dorian Laux and Kim Adonisio. If you don't have this book, it's a really good one, especially if you're just kind of venturing into poetry. It's a good one to have around. Here's a really quick quote from the chapter, The Music of the Line. Poets need to tune their ears as finely as musicians. That's why reading poems aloud is a good idea, including your own poems as you write them. You need not be familiar with meter to gain an appreciation for the rhythm of writers' lines, and to begin to work with this principle yourself. All you need to do is to be able to hear the inflections of the language, which parts of words get a stress, a little push, when you say them aloud. So this week, I just want us to pay attention to how we're already using music within language. Keeping that quote from the Poet's Companion in mind, I want to share a poem with you that's made up of sounds that dance on the tongue. And it also addresses sound and music explicitly in its metaphor. This is by Francisco Aragón, and it is from the bilingual collection Puerta del Sol. This poem is called Of Rain and Guitars. Just listen and let your ear be happy. Of rain and guitars. The drops lengthen, become threads streaming across the glass, overlapping as the sun reappears. My bus and cars glint in the sudden light. Hiss Don Velasquez, the May shower brief, speeding windows laced with water. That is how you think of it. Born of those strings, a network of strings, patterns pleasing to the ear. It hardly compensates, and yet daily you walk down those stairs, past the underground bar, the lottery tickets for sale across a blind man's chest, a Labrador napping at his feet, anticipating it, sifting out the footsteps, ka-clunk, ka-clunk, of the turnstiles till you hear it, distilled and floating up the station's cavern. And over on your left, a hand ascends, gripping the black rubber, forearm sleeveless in the warm phantom wind, his brown hair sprinkled with gray, his face a face that sticks, assuming its beat in the city's pulse, like the big varnished spider at the bottom of the moving stairs, spinning its invisible web above you and your briefcase. And the platform, packed as always, this week the same as last, turning your head for a glance at its shape, the strings, the whole, you barely blink, unfurled embroidery of sound billowing, when you see not the player's hand, fingers plucking, but a flesh-colored moth fluttering in place. I love how that poem uses sound and how it encourages the reader to go back and listen to it again. I love the metaphor as well. This poem is a gift of sound, knowing sound, of the city becoming musician, becoming instrument all at once. When I first thought of how I wanted to discuss music and poetry, I thought of my friend Gretchen Yanover. She's a cellist in the Northwest Sinfonietta, and she is going to share a layered slice of Beethoven with us now. And as you listen, I want you to allow your brain to hear the music through various senses. Pay attention to what the music is communicating, whether it's through language, texture, story, movement, anything. Let your mind wander and wander past music itself. Okay, Gretchen.
Hi everybody, it's Gretchen. I have my electric cello and I'm going to play some Beethoven and use my lip pedal. Now you can go listen to the whole symphony.
God, she's brilliant. Did you hear in Gretchen's playing how the emotion built note by note, line by line, and was layered? This isn't just a technique that Gretchen uses with her electric cello. This is also how we listen to music. We hear a note, but we still remember the notes that came before it. They build, and as a community of notes, they create an emotional experience for us. The same can be said for how we listen to poetry. Music builds poetry syllable by syllable, word by word, line by line, to create a new emotional experience for us, the readers, and it also triggers our memory. By the way, let's support artists like Gretchen during stay-at-home orders. You can download her music or you can buy CDs. She has a new single at her website, GretchenYanover.com. And you can learn more about the Northwest Sinfonietta at nwsinfonietta.org. Okay, here are your prompts for this coming week. The first one is from the Poet's Companion text, and it asks you to take a draft of a poem. And since we're in week 6 of our flash workshops, I figure you probably have at least 5 of them laying around. Take a draft of a poem and rewrite the line lengths in any number of ways. If you use really long lines, rewrite it using short lines. If you wrote a long single stanza, rewrite it in couplets. or in tercets, or rewrite it so that it uses up all the blank space on the page. And then listen to your poem afterward and consider how the content, the music of the poem may need to change as the line lengths themselves change. The second prompt is to listen to Gretchen's layered composition from Beethoven's Ninth, or any instrumental piece of music or a distinct sound, and write a poem that shows this sound in language. While you're perfectly welcome to write song lyrics, that's not necessarily what I mean. I want you to listen to an instrumental piece of music, and I want you to write a poem that communicates what that piece is saying in language. Let the music speak to you. So those are the two prompts. And here's just a reminder that these prompts are meant to be springboards into this week's subject. You are welcome to write too what you have rolling around in your head. In my community workshops, this is always what I say. The prompts are there for people. If they inspire you, great. And if not, write what is already present in your mind. That's all I got for you this week. Send me what you draft at gritcitypoetlaureate@gmail.com. I'm happy to send back a bit of brief feedback. And by the way, thank you to everyone who's been sending poems. This is awesome. I don't have time probably to read everybody's name, but I do have time for a round of applause for everyone who's sending poems. Keep it up. I'll see you next week. Bye. What's that? Oh, just heard that it has not been 200 million years that we've been staying home. It's been 2 months.